power of the state is now pushing for an independent review of a police killing in Colorado Springs. Why that one and not the rest? We learn how wildlife workers bring in the dogs after a mountain lion attack like last night's in Bailey. A middle schooler wanted a better playground, so he wrote a grant to get it. And a possible sign of trouble in Colorado's economy as a man who couldn't get the job he wanted says he'll settle for being senator. Former Governor Hickenlooper's reluctant Senate run has you at home telling us the stories of the jobs you never wanted. That's next. 20-plus police shootings in Colorado this year, and one of them has gone all the way to the governor's desk. The governor agrees with the family of Devon Bailey that the current investigation into how he died is not enough. Bailey's family and community members gathered to speak to journalists in Colorado Springs this afternoon. This was the governor speaking about it earlier today. Bailey was shot in the back 3 times as he ran from police who were investigating an armed robbery earlier this month. The family and friends are saying that they do not trust the local prosecutors to investigate the actions of their law enforcement allies.
We need to know that this work doesn't stop. It doesn't stop when somebody makes the headline saying that we should call for an outside investigation. It doesn't stop when Mayor Suthers says it's all under control, because it is not. We don't trust you, Mayor Suthers. We don't trust you, Sheriff Elder. We do not trust you, Dan May. This is about the time for the people to rise up and hold you accountable for the jobs that some of you were voted in.
Something is different about this particular shooting. If only the response of the state today. Democratic Governor Jared Polis is singling out this one police shooting, saying that he wants an independent investigation. The governor does not have the power to make it happen. And it doesn't sound like the Republican leaders elected in El Paso County, the men just named by that community member, it doesn't sound like they want it to happen. So this becomes a job for our politics guy, Marshall Zallinger.
I hope that El Paso County takes steps above and beyond those that are legally required to maximize the public trust in the objective investigation.
There have been more than 20 officer-involved shooting deaths in Colorado this year. The one that killed Devon Bailey in Colorado Springs happened 19 days ago.
Hands up! Hands up!
It isn't even the most recent. There have been 2 more officer-involved shooting deaths since then, one in Rifle and last week outside a Denver 7-Eleven off West Colfax. Yet only one got Colorado's Democratic Governor Jared Polis to speak out.
Governor, why did you feel the need you needed to say you want an independent investigation in the shooting death of Devon Bailey?
Well, you know, again, I of course, have had conversations with the mayor, with the attorney general, and I think that with where things are in the national conversation and dialogue, I think that there should always be an effort to make sure that we inspire confidence in our processes and in law enforcement.
In a statement, Republican Colorado Springs Mayor John Suthers calls this politically motivated. Of note, he does not take the position that every district attorney in every judicial district in Colorado, including Denver, Boulder, and Pueblo, should recuse themselves from making decisions in officer-involved shootings in their districts.
The Colorado Bureau of Investigations would be the appropriate agency to perform an independent investigation of the killing of Devon Bailey.
Maury Newman, the attorney for Devon Bailey's family, told us independent means giving the case to the state and not another local agency.
What we don't want to see is a so-called independent investigation that really is just handing it to another friend to achieve the exact same result.
Tonight, the Colorado District Attorney's Council, which is led by a Republican, Weld County District Attorney Michael Rourke, they sent the governor a letter saying that the legislature wrote the rules to investigate officer-involved shootings. A governor signed those rules, and Kyle, they're following those rules.
We have seen situations primarily in other states where the public outrage and the politics around police shootings becomes a very big thing. A lot of people have wondered, why doesn't that happen more often in Colorado? There's something about this case that sparked attention.
You have the dichotomy of the Democratic-led legislature and a Democratically controlled governor, and a very red district in El Paso County. The question would be, if the CBI took this, like the family and the attorneys want, are they independent? CBI works with DAs all the time.
Sure. I think maybe one more level removed they would be more comfortable with. All right, Marshall, thank you. Colorado has America's 6th lowest unemployment rate, but today a sign of trouble, as a man who couldn't get the job he wanted indicated he'll settle for being a senator instead. Fresh off his failed presidential campaign, former Governor John Hickenlooper is getting into the Democratic Senate primary. He wasted no time. It appears that Hickenlooper recorded his Senate launch video last Friday, one day after his presidential campaign went kaput. At least that's what the owner of his old brew pub, Wincoop, thinks about the timing of the video shoot. Hickenlooper is joining a Democratic primary with a dozen candidates already, yet he's expected to be an immediate and immense favorite, given his popularity among Democrats statewide and name ID that no one in that primary can match. He's doing his
At a certain point, you have to make a decision whether you're going to sit on the sidelines and just be a critic, or whether you're going to turn around and actually try to do something. I spent a lot of time thinking about it, and you know, I want to be part of the solution. I don't want to sit on the sidelines. I want to go back and help people like Ed Perlmutter really get things done in Washington. Look at how we're being misrepresented in Washington right now. We're not. I mean, climate change. Coloradans care about climate change. Our skiing industry is at risk, and yet Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump basically don't believe in it.
That was Governor Hickenlooper at a campaign event in Golden just about 10 minutes ago, asked why he is now in the Senate race after repeatedly saying that he didn't want the job and wouldn't be all that good at it. Half a dozen of the biggest names in the Democratic primary have come here to Next to take questions as they launch their campaigns. We invited Hickenlooper, but we have not yet received a commitment that he's going to appear here to answer questions. So instead, we'll take that time today to remind you about everyone else who is currently lined up to challenge Republican Senator Cory Gardner, who is Democrats' top target in 2020. You've got Mike Johnston, former state senator who lost a Democratic primary for governor, crusader against gun violence. He's also focusing on climate change. Alice Madden, former State House Majority Leader who lost a statewide race for CU Region. She's talking education, clean energy, and middle-class economics. Andrew Romanoff, former State House Speaker who lost a primary for U.S. Senate as well as a House race. He's staking out progressive positions, the Green New Deal, Medicare for All. Dan Baer worked as an ambassador in Europe during the Obama administration. He led Hick's Department of Education. He's focusing on education, climate, and LGBTQ civil rights. State Senator Angela Williams, she mirrors many of Hickenlooper's more moderate stances, like on business issues, but she's criticized his leadership. Former U.S. Attorney for Colorado John Walsh, he went after Wall Street following the financial collapse. He's talking about the economy and health care. But wait, there's more. Lorena Garcia, a community organizer. Diana Bray, a psychologist and climate activist. Stephanie Rose Spalding, a women's and ethnic studies professor at the University of Colorado in Colorado Springs. Michelle Ferrigno-Warren, a community activist. And Trish Zornio, a biomedical scientist. Not one of them quit the race today upon hearing that Hickenlooper has come home to claim his nomination. You can see our interviews with the candidates on the Next YouTube channel. Now, Senator Gardner ignored our request for an interview, so we caught up with him for an unscheduled accountability session, and that video is also on our YouTube channel. We'll keep you updated on whether Hickenlooper agrees to take our questions. One last word on former Governor Hickenlooper entering the Senate race. Have you ever hired somebody to do a job for you? Would you hire somebody who told you they didn't really want the job and wouldn't be good at it? Probably not. I say probably not. I did not say absolutely not. Maybe you would decide the person would be good at the job, despite what they've said. Maybe you decide the person wasn't telling the truth when they said they weren't interested, and the truth is overrated. Maybe you would decide that the person currently doing the job for you is such a disaster, you'll take anyone who can get him out of there. The tricky part for the person who's looking to get hired here, former Governor Hickenlooper, is that everybody knows that he's only applying because he did not get the job he really wanted. And he's also not the only person who wants to work for you. There's a line out the door. There's the current man on the job and a whole bunch of other potential hires who all say they do want the job and they would be good at it. So you get to decide. You're the one picking who we hire. Colorado Parks and Wildlife thinks that it found and euthanized the mountain lion that attacked an 8-year-old boy in Bailey last night. Specialized search dogs went out and found a pair of mountain lions that killed a goat today in that same general area. Both those mountain lions were euthanized. CPW says they believe that one of those was the animal involved in last night's attack, and a necropsy should confirm that. CPW brought in a specialized team of search dogs from the USDA's Wildlife Services to look in that area of Park County. 4 dogs that came in from Montrose. These are not your average search dogs. They're specifically trained to work in terrain like that and tough weather conditions.
They have a specialty that's going to help us out in this situation. So their specialty is picking up dry scents. When you have the dryness like we have right now, some of that scent does not carry as well as you do when you have some moisture. So we called in these ones just given the conditions.
And those dogs are not only trained to find the scent and to track it, but then to actually chase the animal, to engage it so that wildlife workers can keep track of it. As for the 8-year-old boy who was attacked by the mountain last night, he was seriously hurt. Tonight, though, firefighters in that part of Park County say the boy's doing well.
It's not easy to do something big like this.
A 12-year-old found a way to get his school a paid-for new playground. He worked it into a class project.
Yeah, he got an A.
College students across Colorado head back to school and offer us their view of an uncertain future. That's next. So former Governor Hickenlooper's reluctant Senate run today had us swapping stories on social media about unwanted jobs that you've taken over the years. I've got a stack of the best ones right here. We're going to read them throughout the show, but if you can email me right now, next@9news.com, or use the hashtag HeyNext, maybe I can squeeze yours in by the end of the program.
A warm summer day in Denver. Out east, I'm tracking isolated severe storms that have produced a tornado, several funnel clouds, and 1-inch diameter hail. Our high today at 93 is above average, and the funnel clouds, really, we saw 3, maybe 4 of them out there. No reports of damage or injuries, but really an amazing sight in the sky near Weldona and Roggen. There's one severe cell near Sterling. That stays in effect, that warning, until about 6:45. It is tracking east and will become part of a line of storms that will go late into the night before they move into Nebraska and Kansas. Winds on the backside of that line will bring in some low clouds and fog. Pretty nice looking Friday coming up tomorrow. It'll be warm again with about a 20% chance of rain from storms to end the week. Partly cloudy, an isolated shower or storm still possible tonight. Sunshine 88 tomorrow, a late day storm likely, and then just hot and dry. Low to mid 90s Saturday and Sunday. Cool and dry Monday, and just a beautiful day up at the Loveland ski area, Kyle.
Thanks so much, Kathy. They are the newest generation of innovators and dreamers the people will depend on to make our world a better place. Today, though, their job was simpler: move into their dorms at CU Boulder.
It's a pretty good day outside, I'd say. I mean, blue skies, sunny. Couldn't ask for a better day to move in, to be honest.
I mean, I've been grinding through high school just to get to this moment.
And probably the second I decided I was going to come to CU, I was excited to move in.
I was born in 2001.
I was born May 22nd, 2001.
I was born in 2000.
When I was born in 2001, the president was George W. Bush.
I was born a couple days before, or a couple of months before 9/11.
In my lifetime, big world events.
2010 World Cup, 2014 World Cup.
I remember the Barack Obama winning the presidency.
Social media, the rise of social media.
I remember when I got my first Facebook account when I was 13 years old.
Social media is everything to my generation.
I don't think I can vividly remember not having it now.
When I was younger, I always remember, I would have to go to the mall to get my clothes. And that was different because now I just online shop and it's way easier.
Change is coming, so just embrace it, I guess.
I think we're really more open to new things.
Issues surrounding equality and safety are really big issues and things that we actively try to fight for.
But I think we'd surprise a lot of people with just our, not just our IQs and our intelligence, but just how driven we are. I feel like if we want to succeed, we just need to find a goal and then just stick to it, and I think we can accomplish a lot of things.
Classes at CU Boulder start next Monday. So those kids are off to their dream jobs, but maybe you have found yourself in a tough situation like former Governor Hickenlooper, where you're looking at taking a job that you don't want. A job like the one that Renee wrote into us about. She said, I applied to work in a warehouse. It was a taxidermy warehouse. I pulled the pieces and parts and stuffed them into the skins. Not what I was expecting to be doing. Jake emailed to say that his unwanted job was detasseling corn. Bob sold brushes door to door. John sold long-distance phone service via phone. And Marcia worked in a knitting mill as a turner. She turned the mittens inside out. She says then they'd sew them, and she'd turn them inside out again. It's a sign about who is and is not welcome in Aspen, and a 7th grader who refused to be bored.
We didn't have a whole lot to do, but now we do because of the park.
So he figured out a way to get his school a new playground by the time he hit 8th grade. That's next. Back with more of your unwanted job stories that you've been sending me in honor of former Governor Hickenlooper begrudgingly joining the Senate race. Perhaps he could take inspiration from Travis, who emailed in to say that he once applied to work at a hospital in town as a high schooler and was assigned to help in the morgue. Or there's Leighton, who said his unwanted job was on a rock crusher crew. He wasn't crushing rocks, he was working behind what he described as a flimsy paper face mask, trying to keep the rock dust off the conveyor belt. I don't know, senator doesn't sound like that bad of a gig. Today we met North Arvada Middle School 8th grader Andrew Ellis. Andrew dreamed of getting a new playground at school. He dreamed about it, then he did something about it. As a 7th grader, he wrote a grant proposal for a new playground. It opens next week.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It's really nice. The whole design of it, how it all came out to look. I'm Andrew Ellis. I'm in 8th grade. I go to North Arvada Middle School. Well, I'm the kid that thought of the idea of adding this park to this school for people to do more things during recess.
It was true. We needed a playground. We needed a place for people to play. My name is Erin Fichtel, and I'm a 7th grade science teacher here at North Arvada Middle School. He was in an elective class of mine where they have a lot of opportunities to design their own projects. So he thought he'd try to find a way to get a playground on our back lot here.
For kids to run around and like do obstacle courses and just not be as bored as they were during recess.
So I connected him with a few different grant ideas, and he picked one, and the grant was humongous. So this obstacle course cost about $180,000. He interviewed most of the school. He did focus groups with people in the community.
Because of all the writing and then like surveying. Yeah, it took a couple months, yeah.
The people in the class helped edit and helped with ideas, but he wrote it all himself. And they told us that we won the grant in the spring, and then they built the playground over the summer. It's kind of modeled off of the American Ninja Warrior TV show. And it's open to the community. It's hard to write a grant proposal. And here we are, Andrew did it, and he was 12 when he did it.
But it's not the worst thing in the world if you have enough time to do it. It's pretty good, actually.
Great Outdoors Colorado funding another playground. Andrew says when he's an adult, he's already pretty grown up, when he's an adult, he wants to be either a structural engineer or an electrical engineer. We are back with a sign about who really is welcome. And one of your unwanted job stories you just emailed in took my breath away. I'll read it next. It's a sign that Aspen is so exclusive, no one is allowed to be there, because one parking sign says owners and tenants only, and the second sign right next to it says guest parking only. Next viewer Megan Gallagher spotted this. Something tells me that people are still parking there. Maybe everybody parks there. Love your unwanted job stories. A little food for thought for former Governor Hickenlooper as he reluctantly gets into the Senate race. Lauren S. says her unwanted job was cutting crusty armpits out of stained T-shirts so that Procter & Gamble could test out its new detergents. Have I ever had a job that I didn't want and wasn't good at? You're watching it.